Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to some very interesting Valorant news indeed. Rise Nation, the big topic of discussion of the day. Some contract drama going on that front. Definitely very interesting to see how this will develop going into the future and dive in to try and explain the situation today. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hitting the like button is the best thing you can do. Tell this channel reach new people and please do subscribe as well if you have not yet already. Firstly, there's some Valor leaks just to kick things off with another little neon teaser. We talked about the new agent, of course, yesterday. There's, I mean, look, if you kind of pause things, you see some lightning going on, and well, so someone turns up at the door. There could potentially be this new agent, of course. If you look at this image, this is kind of what's going on here. So, of course, neon agent she's meant to be pretty quick. Hails from the Philippines, supposedly, and I mean, yeah, there's lightning involved. I'm not exactly sure what the movement and the characteristics are going to be of this agent, but well, it's obviously going to be something speed related, right? Whether that's a speed increase, whether that's like probably not a jet dash. They wouldn't want to copy and paste it, but yeah, there has been some theories that okay, instead of well, nerfing jet or something, let's just make a new jet, and that's what some of these guys can use. But I mean, we'll have to see, of course, when it does get confirmed. But yeah, big questions with this new agent coming in, with potential changes as well over the coming weeks. How players are going to adapt before the open qualifier towards the end of this month, because of course that's massive for challengers going into Masters and even Champions for the entirety of the season, at least from the Riot events side of things. Couple of roster things just to discuss real quick before we dive into kind of this Rise Nation drama, which is a real surprise to hit the timeline, but well, maybe not all that surprising when you look at esports history. This from the night Gangster acquired to their starting roster from the Immortals side. Some, you know, pretty cool to see. Frankly, there was some talk about where he was going to end up, and yes, Immortals Gangster ends up on the Knights team. So well, they're looking to rebuild once again as well. So many roster changes we have seen, especially in the North American side, to fight for well, a relatively limited number of spots in challenges in that North American region, in what is going to be a monstrous event, I'm sure, in this open qualifier to determine who is actually going to make it out of all of these lineups. Now, well, this was a big discussion really over these last couple of days. The buyouts in the North American region. There's been some talk from 100 Thieves, or at least about 100 Thieves, like who are they actually realistically going to get to their team as a jet player, because if they do need a jet player, which it seems like they do, because if they want to get any players from North America, the buyouts are just so absurd that they would actually prefer to look to Europe and other regions to pick up their players. Some of you guys are talking about Kelox right from G2, like could he be a good option for 100 Thieves? Probably is someone they're looking at, given the time is kind of running out, and there's not all that many realistic options on the table. As Trick says right here, bit of sarcasm most certainly, my New Year's resolution is to get signed to a tier 5 org and get stuck in contract jail with a 400k buyout. So of course the 400k was tongue-in-cheek, I imagine, like I'm just kind of having fun with it, but I mean, still, it is seemingly the case that some of these players are signing to organizations way lower down the pecking order, and then if they actually want to get picked up by a top tier squad, they can't do so because their buyout is so immense that you know, they actually can't get picked up by a better team. Now, we do see it sometimes in esports where a team kind of signs to an organization that isn't considered to be a real top tier organization, and then the team actually becomes way better than they expect, and then the players on the organization think, okay, wow, like we're better than this org, like you know, let's get us somewhere else, and then well, they actually have to stick to the contract they signed, and then they get kind of frustrated about it. That might be to some degree what we're seeing here, but there might also be more stuff going on in this Rise Nation situation. So this was kind of discussed about Saw, because we saw Saw made a couple of changes recently. Cryo and Xander, so Xander of course went to version 1 as their new IGL, Cryocells went to XSET as we saw yesterday, and there was some talk the fact that Saw had their buyouts so high that these guys couldn't be acquired particularly easily. Now they kind of replied to this right here in this tweet longer. Apparently like some of this has some truth to it, because of course the 400k price tag I'm pretty sure was never intended to be correct, right? I think this wasn't, well, a rumor that was intended to be actually 400k. It was just more like a ballpark figure of a massive buyout. But as well, they say right here, I wanted to address a rumor that seems to have started from an article that wasn't even about Saw. Like Saw did not even set a buyout price through this process. Anyone who claims otherwise is either misinformed or outright lying. After a month-long trial period with half a dozen teams, we received offers for both Cryo and Xander. We spoke with both of them about the teams who made the offer, and when they expressed their interest in playing for those teams, we agreed to the deal. To be clear, we received an offer and accepted. There was no price set on our end. We helped schedule trials and got them new homes. I care about my players, happy they're both on top teams, truly believe they will become some of Valorant's best players, looking forward to watching them grow with their new team. So interesting stuff, no doubt, from the Saw side of things, but well, this is kind of what happens as a result of things. So as George Getter says, I can tell you right now, Cryo did not have a 400k buyout, so there is some truth to this. Not sure about the whole Xander situation. The trick is that 400k was a random number I made up, just you know, just given this whole situation. Of course, there's been interest for the last 6 months in Cryo from the XSET side, but then we get this that comes out. So David Miller, coach of the Cloud9 training grounds, says to everyone getting contracted, please negotiate your buyout properly in the contracts so you get a percentage, and the buyout isn't absurd based on what you were getting paid. So just saying that, like, okay, this 400k number might just be a random figure, but you know, make sure you actually get a good contract negotiated. Now, none other than Superman from Rise Nation retweets this and then follows it up with a number of other interesting tweets, especially from the Rise Nation guys, indicating very significantly that some sort of contract buyout situation is affecting the Rise Nation players right now. As it goes on to say, I should have gotten a lawyer, and I mean, usually this is the case when, well, something happens or whatever. Maybe you're suggesting, look, I should have gotten a lawyer to review my contract when I signed it, because for whatever reason, the Rise Nation guys might be trying to leave their roster, leave their organization, and go to a new organization, but they can't do so because of the buyouts and the contracts that they have in place right now. Maybe their buyouts are too high for, well, an organization to want to pay for them, and for whatever reason that might potentially be. Because, well, as we will go on to have a look at here in a second, what might be going on this front side, and as Superman continues with, all I want for New Year's is out. So it seems like he wants out of Rise Nation, his organization, his players want out of the organization itself, and I mean, look, who knows, right, if the rest of the guys are playing. As Poised says as well, for real though in the replies, and we get this, for example, from, well, Dre over the LG side, no shot, they trapped you in the roster. We also get this from a couple of the guys also on Rise Nation. They're kind of the death faith emoji from Shanks, not really want to say all that much, and Derek saying a very similar thing. So pretty much all the Rise Nation guys getting involved with this, and was kind of difficult to determine what exactly is going on this front. Now, George Geddes kind of looks into things and tries to figure out how things, well, exactly what's going on here. So Super Rise Nation, this is the situation apparently that is going on. The Rise Nation guys have had offers from organizations to buy them out of the team. The Rise owners and managers have tried to facilitate a deal, but the organizations that originally offered the deal have not responded. So it seems like a lot of the, well, these organizations might be trying to buy the Rise Nation squad out, and who could really blame them? They were very close indeed to making it all the way to champions, made a crazy run the last few months into the LCQ, nearly beat Cloud9, took down a number of solid teams, we'll have a look at it in just a couple of seconds, to well, almost make it to champions. And now an organization might want to buy these guys out, but maybe their buyout situation is too high. Seems like pretty much all the Rise Nation guys want to be out of their organization. Sometimes this happened when Rise, a relatively small organization in comparison to some of the other teams in the North American region, a team does particularly well on that organization, and then that team kind of wants to move on to brighter pastures, they think, at least in terms of another organization. And well, it seems like they certainly want out of here for whatever reason, but Rise might not be able to come to an arrangement. So this doesn't seem like it tells the entire story, just because if this was the case, not really sure why some of the Rise Nation players would be so frustrated on the timeline and talking about how they shouldn't have signed these contracts, or they should have got a lawyer, or whatever the case might be, because of the situation they find themselves in. But it all is rather dramatic. As George kind of follows up within the reply, I presume the anger from the Rise players has something to do with them wanting to leave the team, but feel like it's something in their contracts which is stopping them from doing so. I've been told they can leave, but only when an offer has been made. So some sort of contract thing which is preventing them from leaving the team. All rather dramatic, as it, well, tends to be with some of these organizations in these, well, in esports more generally. So just to keep you guys familiar with the Rise Nation squads, some of you guys were saying I should use night mode on my VLR.GG, which to be fair does look kind of better. And so congratulations on that front. Now, as you can see, Poised, Shanks, Superman, Derek, and Neptune, that's the current roster of 5. And well, pretty much all these guys saying something or other on the timeline last night. Built themselves up to honestly a monstrous team in the North American region, one of the best, and it's no real surprise that organizations might be making offers for them. But if their buyouts are just so high, they might not be able to leave, and they might not even be able to leave on their own terms if, well, if they obviously aren't offered a buyout, right, because they're contracted to the organization, and understandably so. These are kind of their results as of late. We saw the last chance qualifier. They took down FaZe, they took down Cloud9, they took down 100 Thieves before losing to Cloud9 again in the grand finals to, well, fall short just about of making it all the way to champions. But it's certainly a solid team. No surprise there is interest, but yeah, definitely surprising they're running into such situations, frankly, with their contracts or whatever, and aren't particularly happy about things on the timeline. So very interesting stuff, no doubt. Just wanted to finish out with this clip here from 100 Thieves. This is well, their #1 moment of the year, Hiko. Lovely little 1 versus 3 clutch against Gambit as their top moment of 2021. But yeah, very much intrigued to your perspective on all this stuff in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hitting the like button tells the YouTube gods this is a good video. Others like you should see it as well, and help grow the competitive Valorant community. Thanks for watching as always, take care, and I will see you next time.